So, who is Wilson Odobert? Here are three key statistics as to why Spurs have just spent £30 million on the winger from Burnley you may never have heard of. Well, it's no secret that Spurs needed a dribbly winger, and they have recently shifted their strategy to focusing on younger players. Well, Odobert ticks both these boxes. He's a 19-year-old versatile winger who loves to carry the ball forward and try and beat his man through clever dribbling and aggressive running. He's a different style of winger to what Spurs have now, whereas previously they've been very reliant on direct running from Johnson, Son and Werner, who don't typically try and take on their man, but they try and make smart runs and look to get on the end of passes. This is a very different style of play to Odobert, who, when Spurs are coming up against teams on the low block, he will be able to beat his man and get onto the byline and make those crucial crosses into the box for Dominic Solanke to get onto. The stats also show he's very good at this. It will also mean that Spurs are likely to move on Manor Solomon now, who is a significantly weaker option when you look at them statistically together. One of the players he's most similar to, if you're looking for a comparison, is Doué or even Yamal of Barcelona. It's not a cheap transfer for Spurs, so it's clear that they think this player can make an impact this season. And Ange Postecoglou has mentioned that Tottenham will be signing young players they believe can make a difference right now. He is going to be registered in time to play against Leicester City, which means he's likely to be on the bench for that game too. The initial reaction from Spurs fans, though, has been one of underwhelming surprise. I think Spurs fans have been expecting someone like Eze to come in the door for £65 million, but this player offers much of what Eze does, but you could argue he's a slightly more natural fit, as Spurs need a primary winger who could deputise in other positions, whereas Eze was more of a primary number 10 who could deputise in on the wings. But here are three key statistics as to why he makes sense for Spurs. In the whole of Europe, only 3 players under the age of 20 completed more dribbles than Odobert last season. The players ahead of him include huge names like Lamine Yamal and Désiré Doué, and he's seen as a similar type of player to these. So if you want to get a feel for that and look at those kind of the style of play you're expecting, I'd really look into those players as well. He's a very similar sort of player. Odobert also hits in the top percentile for progressive carries and take-ons. Now, as we said before, this is what categorises a dribbly winger. It's someone who can take on their man and really drive that ball forward. He also averages a goal every 5 games, and he's not shot shy either. So it's a system that really suits Ange Postecoglou's when you have a winger like this. Someone, particularly against those low block teams that Spurs struggle against, it makes teams much less confident about just sitting back against you, knowing that this player can still get past you, and it makes you much less predictable too. Now, the third stat is a key one, and it's something that frustrated a lot of Spurs fans last season, is that Tottenham would get themselves into very dangerous positions, but they wouldn't pull a shot away. We saw this a lot with Kulusevski in particular. He was very good at beating his man. He would often look for the pass rather than shot. We often saw this with Sonny last year, and a bit of a change in behaviour as well, where he just wasn't taking those shots. And we wondered if that was down to coaching or habit or what. Now, the great thing about both having Solanke now and Odobert is both those players are going to gel quite nicely together and complement each other. We're actually going to probably see Solanke holding the ball up deep and feeding in Odobert, who's not going to be scared of getting on the end of those balls, beating his man and taking a shot. He's in the top percentile for shots taken, meaning that often when he gets the ball into that final third, you're going to see him take opportunities from being inside the box and feeling he has a chance of getting a shot away, which is refreshing to bring in some unexpected part of Ange Postecoglou's system. But what do you make of the signing of Wilson Odobert? Are you happy, excited, underwhelmed? Did you want him? Maybe it's the first time you've heard of him, but let us know in the comments, and we'd love to have you on our show next week as we discuss him in much more detail. So don't forget to subscribe. Up the Spurs.